east to west, further and further away, and it's getting colder and colder. So they personify that the devil is eating up the sun. Though they start beating drums and start offering prayers, that the sun may not be swallowed up, because if it gets swallowed up, they'll be finished for good. 24th of December, the equinox. And now you see the 25th. Those primitive people in the northern hemisphere, they could sense the variation in temperature day by day. 25th, they can see the sun coming back into its own. In other words, the sun has now come out supreme. It has not been, the devil didn't swallow up the sun, it's coming back. So that is the date of the birth of the sun god. Sun god, the sun has come back into its own. They celebrated Christmas. Birth of, not Jesus Christ, the birth of the sun god, Baal, Horus, Apollo, Astarte. All these were the sun gods worshipped in the Mediterranean region, and their birthday was the 25th of December. So when the people became Christianized under Constantine, they accepted that birthday of the sun as the birth of the Son of God, in inverted commas. So it is not the birthday of Jesus. The Quran tells us very, very clearly that when Jesus was born, his mother Mary was told, he says, shake the palm leaf, the leaf of the palm leaf, date palm, and it will let fall fresh ripe dates. Means the dates were ripe, ready. You just shake it and the thing will fall, and you can eat and refresh yourself with the rivulet, a small river running by. Refresh yourself. After the birth of the child, she is told that. So it was midsummer. If the Quran says that the dates were ripe, it means midsummer, not midwinter. Palestine is in the northern hemisphere. Your winter and their winter is the same. So you don't have winter in midsummer, dates in midsummer. So it was midsummer. Then the Bible also says that when Jesus was born, the shepherds were out in the field. Now the shepherd is a fool. If he with his sheep stays out in the open in Palestine, in midwinter, he will freeze to death, and his sheep will freeze to death. So if you reason, the Quran and the Bible, they both confirm that Jesus was not born on the 25th of December in midwinter. But now because of that, men of learning in the West, they are now supposing that this Jesus was a myth, is a fairy tale, because it's connected with all these fairy tales. Jesus was no myth. He was a real historical person. According to the teachings of Islam, we have no doubt about it. That some 2,000 years ago, there was a young lady called Mary, and she gave birth to a child called Isa, or Esau, or Yeshua, translated Jesus, and he was born miraculously. But the myth idea is because of this association with the pagan cults, the sun-worshipping cults. Now when we look at Muhammad, a comparison, Muhammad was born some 600 years after Jesus in Mecca. Before his birth, his father died. See, he was a posthumous child, and a child that is born after the death of his father. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam happens to be the most historical of all religious personality according to Encyclopedia Britannica. No doubt whatsoever about him that Muhammad could be a fairy tale. Most historical, solid down-to-earth figure. History starts with him. The change of the Arab nation starts with him. The whole Arab world becomes known to the world for the first time in the history since the creation of the world. Since the creation of the world, the Arabs were an unknown people. Nobody was interested in that human rubbish. Nobody. Alexander the Great passed them by. The Phoenicians, the Persians passed them by. The Egyptians passed them by. Nobody was interested in that human rubbish. Nobody. It was after Muhammad that all of a sudden they become known, and they become masters of the known world through the blessings of Islam. Before that, unknown. Muhammad is the most historical of all religious personalities. The mission of these two respective messengers of God Jesus Christ, according to the scriptures, opened his mouth at the age of 30. And by the time it was 33, 3 years' time, they say that the Jews hanged him on the cross, did away with him as a false prophet, as an impostor, as a liar, as a cheat. They hung him on the cross, 3 years. The Prophet of Islam opens his mouth at the behest of God at the age of 40, and for the next 23 years of his life, he reformed his people. 23 years. His mission is 23 years, Jesus was 3 years. And the records left behind through the lips of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah Bari Ta'ala gave this book. Muhammad left this record behind, the Holy Quran. A complete record. Everything that the Muslim ought to know, his duties and obligations, are all given in this book. You don't have to fumble for knowledge, for directions. It's all given to us. In the case of Jesus, Jesus himself, he did not write a word in his lifetime, not one word. In his lifetime, nor did he dictate to anyone to write a word, and nor was a word written, not one. What we have today is a record long after him, written down by persons called Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter, James, Paul, and on and on. And that record is a record about Jesus. It's not his record, it's not what he said. This book, this is the Holy Bible. In this Holy Bible is called there is an Old Testament and the New Testament. The New Testament is supposed to be, according to the Christian missionaries, that is the Injil. You know, we Muslims, we say we believe in the Injil. Of course, we believe in the Torah, we believe in the Zabur, we believe in all the holy scriptures originally revealed by God Almighty. Among them we name Injil. So they say this New Testament is the Injil. But let us see what the Christians themselves, they say. Here is a Bible, very beautiful Bible, very expensive Bible, this particular one here. This was presented to me by Dr. Shorosh. If you see the tape of the debate with him in the Royal Albert Hall, you will find him, he starts with his Arabic introduction, beautiful introduction. Arabic is his mother tongue. And he says, you see, we Arabs, when we go to meet a friend, we don't go empty-handed. We must present them with something. And this was in a green parcel. He handed it to me. I didn't know what it was, but I took it. But I found this very, very helpful, very valuable, invaluable. See, this Bible here is unique from many points of view. In this, that this particular Bible is called a red letter Bible. I don't know whether you heard. How many of you heard about a red letter Bible? Yes. What? Hardly anybody. 2. Red letter Bible. You know what is a red letter Bible? I have to explain to you. Red letter Bible. You see, everything that Jesus spoke is in red. So it makes it very easy for you to know which are the words of Jesus. Because in the New Testament, there are 27 books. 27 books put together make the New Testament, the so-called Injil of the Christians. But these 27 books, how are you going to find out, sift out what Jesus said and what he didn't say? What Jesus said, you got time for that? Who's got time for that in modern times? So the Christians have made things easy for us. They put everything, every word of Jesus is in red, the rest is in black. So it's 2-color job, black and red, black and red. It also makes it easy for us now to find out to what extent is the New Testament the words of Jesus. So it's only about 10%. 90% has got nothing to do with Jesus. 90%. Not even out of the 27 books in this particular one, this particular Bible is the King James Version, and they tell you in the preface, this is the 5th major revision. You know what's a major? You know, minor, small, major, big. The little children, they can't testify in court because they are minors. Major, grown up. Major, big. So this is the 5th major revision of the King James Version. King James, one of your kings here, in 1611, he had this Bible produced. It carries his name still today. But this particular one, by now, 5 times they made changes. Big changes, not tiny things. Major. That's what they say, and the Englishman knows what he's talking about. When he says major, he means major. After 5 major revisions, they still call it King James Version. You know, amazing. Look, I'm telling people, if your great-great-great-grandfather, he made his last will and testament, and your great-great-grandfather, he made a major change in that will, then your great-grandfather made another major change, and your grandfather made another major change, and your father made another major change, and you made another major change, and you still call it your great